Right, hello everyone, and welcome to session 3 of the Wrath and Glory game, The Depths of Trollius. For those who don't know, we are currently using the latest update to the rules that was put out by Cubicle 7. So if you're used to the old Ulysses Spiel version, there's probably a few differences in rules, but the main takeaway is that we're kind of relearning as we go, so expect us to make a few mistakes. But other than that, I don't really have much in the way of announcements, so let's just quickly go around, get everyone to introduce themselves, and then we'll just jump into play. So let's start with Brother Harad and go around from there.
Hi, everybody. My name's George. You can find me at all the social Twitter at Strom12341, and I play Brother Harad in this campaign.
Awesome. It's me this time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, everybody. Hi, I'm Eric. I'm Eric Vulgaris, socials, and in this game, I play a Sister of Battle by the name of Rosencrantz.
Hey all, I'm Ben. I'm going to be playing Torvian, a Imperial Guard medic.
And hi, I'm Kessa, and I suppose I'm now playing Agent Shank. Yes.
Very nice. And as I set the scene up, why don't we have Krantz read her opening log, as it were.
Yes. Okay. So this is taken from last night. I honored my order well yesterday. It began as any other day on Trollius. Snow and ice, howling winds, frozen corpses. Our objective this day was the sanatorium, hoping its hallowed halls held answers to our mounting heap of queries. I hoped for Imperium survivors, as I struggle with the burden that the only living being found on this planet worthy of salvation should be a Xenos in the employ with our rogue traitor. The sanatorium showed radiantly through the blinding snow, it being the only one with electrical power since we've arrived. Now, while it shone with outward light, that place was full of darkness. I'm confident my canoness would be sure to point out a lesson in that. Every office and clerk room inside had been converted to some form of medical ward. The cogitators and servitors reeked of heresy, and little insight was gleamed as to the nature of the city's demise or the nature of these morbid walking experiments. Servitors with brutal medical equipment worked on these frozen corpses, serving some nefarious logic that defies the pure in spirit, and so we purged it. Other servitors marched to meet our wrath. And I'll tell you, sisters, one member of our ranks had grenades, and the explosion and ensuing bolter fire felt cleansing. After our clash, our Xenos partner suggested we turn away. Can you believe it? Of course you can. Courage, after all, can only come from true belief. We descended deep into the basement of the sanatorium, met little resistance until the 18th floor, where there was the presence of the warp. Foul energy emanated here, stemming from a psyker resting upon its own spiritual abominations. But the terror from within the basement wasn't the only surprise to be had that day. Another came in the form of a boon. Our corporal is among the Inquisition and denied the psyker's power, giving us a chance for our team to assassinate the heretic. I wish it could have struggled in its path towards death. It certainly deserved to suffer. Thought of the day. He who allows the alien to live shares its crime of its existence.
Very nice. I love it. You may have starting glory for that. I figure I'll start giving you guys glory for doing this for me because I love it. All right, so we are going to actually start pretty much minutes or maybe even seconds after Shank has shown you his rosette. And in particular, I'll have to refresh the overlay, so give me a second. But if I recall correctly, Shank, you were thrown into a snowdrift, and both Brother Harad and Miss Krantz were more or less looming over you.
Yes, they were indeed. And at this moment in time, I think I've announced my true allegiance with my rosette. And I think the ball is firmly in their court.
I immediately cease my pointing gun at you and kind of like kneel or kind of reverence of the appropriate rank and file. I do not doubt for a minute that you are not who you say you are.
And Brother Harad will grab you by your the front of your carapace armor and lift you back up onto your feet.
Much obliged. Trooper Torvian, do you have any particularly strong feelings?
I don't care for psychers.
Noted. Well, I'm just going to dust off the snow. It's cold.
Indeed. Where would you recommend we go?
Oh, that quickly, eh? No other questions? Not very inquisitive of you, is it? Well, probably for the best.
Not for the faithful to question.
Damn right. So, there's no point in hiding my gifts. Yes, I am a psyker. I think Alara knew.
She nods.
She nods. Okay, so I've stared out into this hive. I've seen two things of note. There's an area of calm. The entire area is raging with the warp. There's one area of calm, roughly that way. But in the other direction, there's a hive, a mechanicum hive. I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm not sure why I detected it. But it's still active. It's still active. Make of that what you will.
Out of character, what does calm, what does like know it, would I know what it means to find something that's psychically calm? Like, or that's something I should ask in character?
I think you would ask in character
Sure.
because you're not a sister of silence kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Come again? What do you mean when you say calm?
Oh, it's very hard to describe that with someone without the third sense, sixth sense. It's dead.
Do your best.
Imagine you're in a blizzard, and we almost are.
Yeah.
Or a storm. At this point is the eye of the storm. There is no, as you'd say, raging currents around it. It's completely dead, quiet. I found that very odd.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the question. That was kind of the next question. Is like as I like touch my bolter, I mean, like, is that a good or a bad thing? As in, like, is that where an enemy would be, or where a possible ally would be? Sounds like there's enemies that way.
Unknown, undetermined. I'm afraid it's our job to investigate.
I think the Admex might have bigger guns that we could use on that.
I prefer to avoid the cult of Mars. They've always disturbed me. Side effect, as a player, I would totally love to go to the Admech stuff. Just my character thinks that Admech people are kind of creepy.
Fair.
They're obviously doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing, so we can go there and shoot them.
Yeah. I'm going to go, yes, I totally agree with your suspicions with the adepts of Mars, but I'm going to look longingly at my empty grenade belt and go, we are missing some ordnance.
And if it means that someone would be still alive on this planet other than eyeing our Xenos, then perhaps we should take the short bet, even if it means they are more machine than person.
Inquisitor, would you like to glean if our captive has any information on the Mechanicum outpost that's still operational?
I'm afraid you'd have far, far, far more luck than I. I can't read minds, as you may believe. Oh, and I'm not an Inquisitor. I'm merely an agent. A humble servant of the throne.
Everyone here is a humble servant of the throne.
Indeed.
Alara, like, raises a finger, like, can I...
Silence you!
Everyone who matters.
But no, she actually keeps her hand raised, like she wasn't, like, objecting to that, like she actually had something to say.
We're not in school.
No.
You don't have to raise your hand.
Oh, I don't hear any objections, so I guess we're going to the anime. I'm just gonna overrule her. But then she says what she says, right?
Right. She says, this is why I try to be polite and do the Monkai thing of raising my hand. Whatever. To answer your question, I do not know what lies in wait at the mechanicus shrine, as you put it. But I do sense the same as Mr. Shank here. I do sense that there is some foul presence there. I can't really determine what it is, though.
Why didn't you mention it earlier?
You never asked.
We would have had no way of knowing to ask, as you
Brother
know.
Hod, Brother Hod takes her gun away.
She goes, okay.
I have no objections with this. At least not for the moment.
Yeah, I think we're all in favor of doing the going to the AdMech place. And perhaps like while we're traveling there, quick question would be for me would be so while we're going through the blizzard, right? And so this would be trying to direct it, I guess, at Shank, or maybe the rest of the party would know. But so like we're doing that sort of like going up the Caradhras, Lord of the Rings kind of thing, we're all shooting our hands and stuff from the wind. So it's like, so how did you know it was the cult of Mars? What gave it away? Like, because I don't really know how psychic powers work, so like I don't know how you could like remotely determine that, right? So like
Well,
I'm curious why you would know.
Why would I know? There's two reasons. One, I have higher clearance than you do, and a better map of the hive. So I have a better orientation. Second, it's just a guess. This is in the direction of the Mechanicum Manufactorum.
And I'm actually adjusting. I put us on the big overview of the hive because I wanted to give you guys like a visual reference of how far you've come in and where everything is.
Yeah.
Oh, we've made some good distance.
So let's see. So the red circle is going to be the AdMech spire. The yellow dot is that location with the calm. And then let me draw a quick circle for your destination in purple. So let's say that big purple is your destination. But carry on. I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a real good conversation that leads us to the AdMech spot, as you describe it. You realizing, or not realizing, you sharing with us that you have better information.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I would have in my own brain going at that point would be like, wonder what other secrets this Inquisitor agent has.
Fair enough. All right, so let me move that circle there so that we know. And I will put us on this map early to describe what you are seeing. So the AdMech Spire is actually located in a fairly dense pocket of buildings. And like most Mechanicus spires, it is for lack of a better term, it is a shrine to the great Omnissiah, the great god. So quickly, sidebar here. There's some discussion whether the God Emperor of Mankind is the Omnissiah or if the Machine God is separate. It really just depends on your point of view. Anyway, point I'm trying to make is it looks very impressive. It is made out of not the rockcrete and other sort of basic building materials you would find in a hive. It is made out of gleaming metals that apparently have resisted the tears of weathering. The metal is red though, so it's almost like a bright or almost crimson red. And the spire itself maybe goes about 2 or 3 stories into the ground, but based on its location, you're probably guessing that it goes much farther down. And the front doors of the spire are just these big sort of steel or plasteel doors that have sort of that trapezoidal teeth structure on them. And rather than close, they are open just enough for a average sized person to squeeze through without a problem.
Can I roll my perception just to see if there's any battle damage?
You certainly may.
As I scurry inside of this place, I will retort, I'm always concerned at places that seem to withstand the elements. There's never anything good inside.
Try to find where the perception test
take
is.
my steps forward.
I think it's awareness, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
As long as you remain vigilant.
I would say you could shift that 6 there if you wanted to.
Do it faster.
I will shift it from additional detail rather than glory.
Gotcha. All right. So base info, and then I'll give you additional. Base info is that even when you like poke your head into the main entrance and you look around, it's as if this place has been almost frozen in time, if you'll excuse the pun. It is immaculate. It's perhaps in even better condition than the sanatorium was. There are bright lights, at least here in the entryway, on either side of the long, sort of conveyor belt like feed that runs through the center of the floor. There's bright lights that are in the corners of the room, and there are 2 like sea containers that are sitting on either side of this room. And in the distance, you see that there are multiple lights. They get dimmer as they go. But at the very far end, you see a closed door that's maybe about the size of a rhino, or maybe several rhinos if you were to stack them together. But you are not seeing any servitors, at least for the moment. You are not seeing any admech people. And it doesn't seem like anything's amiss, which of course is in it of itself kind of a red flag.
Any chanting? Did the corporal hear any chanting?
I tell you what, let's do it this way because I'm a fan of the players asking questions for additional information. Would you like that to be your additional information, or do you have another question you'd want?
If I was going to ask that question, I'd roll prescience again. It seems like a more of a warp phenomenon rather than something I'd hear.
Okay. You did shift though, so what would your question be on the perception?
So is there any surveillance instruments that I see? Cameras, servo skulls? Are we being watched?
I would say that you're not quite being watched, but I will go ahead and draw in with, let's do red circles. You're seeing that there are 2 cameras that are focused not on the entrance, but on the containers themselves. And if you look really, really carefully into the distance, there are a few servo skulls floating around.
We might want to check those crates.
If they're dangerous enough to warranted constant surveillance, we should clear them to make sure that we cannot be ambushed by whatever in them.
Well, they might be watching them constantly for what's inside of them, or they might be watching them constantly to make sure they're not stolen from.
But I roll prescience just as a...
Yeah, go for it. Because as far as I'm... Okay. All right. So let's figure this out, because again, I looked and there was not clear guidance on this. Synescience, or however the hell you say it, is it technically a power? Does it mean you can actually perils?
It's an ability.
It's an ability, right. And I think, though, for dramatic effect, let's do this. I will spend 2 ruin to make you roll on the chart because I think it's interesting.
Okay. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to roll 2 separate d6, and we'll see where it is on the chart.
Okay.
So I'll roll 1, and the next. So 64.
A 64. So let me find the chart real quick. But what you notice is that... Ooh, interesting. That is going to be interesting. So what you notice is, before things start to go wrong, is that in the containers, there is just a mass of life, or unlife as it may be. You're sensing the same sort of presence that you would have sensed from the frozen zombies, quote unquote. And if you are correct in your thinking, there's maybe about 50 of them in each crate. So, that's not a good thing. But to everyone else, as he's sort of, maybe finger to the temple, scanning the area, what you realize is his literal aura. Literally, he becomes outlined in a maleficent light. And in... Yes.
Sorry, I was reading over Senescience, and the last sentence, as it is not considered a psychic power, Senescience cannot trigger the perils of the warp.
Oh. Well, then carry on. You just said those things. Thank you for the catch, because that would have definitely flavored things tremendously different.
Good. Well, then you do get your ruin back.
Yeah, I do get my ruin back.
Oh, I want to see that happen.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time, yeah. Just use
Maybe
more
next time.
powers. I'm sure it'll be fine. Anyways, yes, you do sense there are 50 in each container, so 100 in all. Good news is that the crates looked pretty secure.
Right. So I'm going to relay this
Well, I'm
information
far more
I'm going to relay this information to the rest of the party. Going, I really wouldn't try and tamper with those crates. They're filled with the undead.
I wonder what the mechanicum was doing with crates filled with those creatures.
Well,
We could probably open them from the top, since it doesn't seem like these things can climb very effectively.
I'd much rather just keep them shut.
I wouldn't test it.
I agree with Brother Harad. It would be much more preferable for us to go find the seneschal. What would you call someone who runs this place?
Magos, probably, if it's a
Curators?
manufactorum.
Can you repeat that?
A Magos, probably, if it's a manufactorum.
Magos, yeah. And the Magos or whoever is surviving in charge of this place.
I agree.
Find
But
them.
if they're keeping these creatures all the way out here, and who knows what they're keeping even farther down, and with all the damage and destruction about, it could be that some have escaped.
And how we'll deal with Jacta not being here today is Jacta will pipe up and say, it's probably not a good idea for us to split up, but I think it's probably important that at least one of us stay behind and watch our exit and these containers. I do volunteer for that.
Okay. If you feel it is necessary.
Yeah,
You'll be remembered when the time comes.
He nods, and we'll say for sake of argument, he just goes, or that's the wrong token. Jacta is this token. Jacta just goes up against one of the crates, still hopefully out of the range of the camera. Like, he's not going to deliberately go, hey, look at me. But he's just going to pop open a low stick and just light one up and just sit there relaxing for a bit.
All right, let's make our way to the door, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point sneaking into one of these places. The adepts really don't appreciate that.
Yeah, so the only thing I would ask is move 10 meters at a time. That way, as dynamic lighting reveals areas, I can describe them for you.
I'll move up to Brother Harad.
Okay.
I'll follow up slightly behind.
Okay.
I'll follow as well. I just had to reload.
I gotcha. Yeah, I had to reload twice to get it to show up on the overlay, so maybe Roll20's derping right now. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
All right. So let's see. Yeah, Brother Harad, you would see that. So in the first sort of branching point that you see beyond the entryway, what you're able to see are the shapes of what are probably servitors moving about, adjusting equipment, turning knobs, moving widget A to location B. They're just going about their daily tasks as if everything was normal. What you maybe notice, Brother Harad, is that there are two servitors in particular here, if you can see that ping.
I can.
Ping. Okay. Those two servitors are standing still, and they are just sort of staring straight ahead and don't really seem to be doing much of anything. But you do notice that they are armed. They appear to have not a servo arm anymore. They have what is almost a Omnissiah axe, so a great powered axe implanted where their servo arm would be.
Yikes.
Seems that they are combat servitors. However, since we are not intruders, hopefully their doctrina wafers aren't scrambled and they won't attack us immediately.
How do we know we're not registered as intruders?
Well, when they start attacking us, we'll know we're registered as intruders. I'm going to go and stand over here, right in their line of view,
Okay.
and command one of them to come over to me.
Okay. So you walk forward, and as you do so, you see that there is a closed door up here to the north. And that is, it's not guarded like this one to the south is, and it's a drastically different style of door. The door that the servitors are standing in front of, those set of doors are more or less blast doors. They seem to be very thick, very much meant to keep not things, but people out, if you get my drift. Whereas this door to the north, not so much. Just looks like a normal average door. But as you step forward and command them to walk to you, I would like you to roll me... what to have you roll here? Not a tech, because I don't think tech would apply. How would you feel about a... How would you feel about just a straight fellowship for me?
About as well as any other fellowship roll I could make.
Okay. Good news is that the fellowship... Oh, interesting. So, yes, with 2 successes, the servitors actually look at each other, and then they go back to staring straight ahead, and one of them answers, "We are to guard this door. That is our purpose."
Who is in charge here?
That would be Magos Domina,
Where is Magos Domina?
beyond this door.
Is Magos Domina alive?
Yes.
Can you put me in contact with Magos Domina? I am Harad of the Dark Angels.
So the servitors look at each other again. Look back at you. You are not registered in our cogitators. Access denied.
Right, I'm gonna walk up behind you. Brother Harad, what have you found?
It seems we have found the Magos. It is behind this door. I'm having some trouble with the servitors, however. They're sticking to their doctrine very closely. I do not seem to have the clearance to get past them.
Ah, well, I might be able to help with that. So I'm going to use my ability, which is influence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pull out my rosette, Inquisitorial Agent Shank, under the command of Inquisitor, I think it was, I have the name, Inquisitor Shapur. Identify.
All right. And the servitors are going to look very closely, very intently at your rosette. And one of them finally sort of starts to whir and like twitch a little bit. And then the other one says, "Access granted." And the door, the blast door, begins to lift up into the ceiling. So let me get rid of
cool.
Get rid of the dynamic lighting here so you can see what's going on. But in the room beyond, as you all sort of gather up and look into it, what you see is something very similar to what you saw in the sanatorium, yet different. So what you see, well, I guess you can't really see quite yet. So let me move a light source here so you can see what's going on. So what you're seeing is a set of 4 tables, and they are very much tables. They're not bio beds. They're not really anything but just a metal surface with 4 legs on each one. And on each of the 4 tables are either a servitor or one of the frozen in what appear to be various stages of repair or conversion. And in the middle of the 4 tables is a tech priest, a member of the mechanicus, in the typical red robes of his station.
Brother Hyde will look at Acolyte Shank and his eyes will say, "You want to take care of this? Or you want me to?"
I think I'd better. I think I'm a lot more personable than you are right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to just edge myself to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to ask, Tech Priest, identify yourself.
So the tech priest stops what they're doing. They were working on one of the frozen. They look at you and they say, "Now, who might you be?"
Agent Shank of the Inquisition.
And there's a moment where their head twitches as they confirm what you said. Ah. Well, welcome to Mechanicus Spire Omicron 9. I am Magos Domina.
Oh, you're the Major Domina. Then you can explain to me why you have these abominations on your tables.
They are to be servitors.
I see. Have you determined the nature of their taint? Their source of corruption? Are you sure this is a correct move to turn them into servitors?
And as you ask this question, I'm going to let anybody who wants to roll this, because, you're all privy to this conversation. I would like you all, well, basically anyone who feels like it, roll an insight for me, please.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, 2 for Torvian. 3 for Krantz and a Glory. Harad sees nothing. Shank sees it all, apparently. So both Krantz and Shank, what you're picking up is that the tech priest is maybe a little too eager about this, as in he knows exactly what's going on, but he doesn't really want to tell you. Like, he's doing that sort of sing-song dance where he's like, "Oh, look at my brand new toy, but I don't want to tell you how I got it," kind of a thing.
Right. Cool. So then I think I'm going to break protocol here, Shank, and I'll like to see how you respond to it after I do this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be like, "Excuse me, do you take us for fools? I know we weren't from here, certainly, but we did not just cross through this forsaken city, fighting and blowing up these things just for you to pretend that these are toys. Do not take us for idiots. Or tell us what you're doing."
I'm just going to have a little smirk on the side of my face.
And and now, I don't have my gun open, out, pointing at him, but I've certainly, my hand is at it, I'm getting really frustrated right now about this, being like, "No, we just killed a bunch of those things and these servitors before. We're a little tired." You're not going to, it's the same day of what's happened in the sanatorium. So no.
Yeah, and Brother Harad will also go up on the other side of Shank and say, "Magos, I understand that your Mechanicum doctrines preclude you to certain activities, but even you should know how heretical this is."
Let's do this, because I find it interesting, completely from a roleplay perspective. I agree, but let's maybe make this a roll, but I'm going to give you some bonuses here. So, Krantz, I'd like you to roll me an intimidation. I think it's pretty straightforward there. Harad, you may assist with this intimidation.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to give you, for good roleplay, I'm going to give you 2 bonus dice, Krantz.
Okay. Cool. I was going to ask for bonus dice because of the rosette. And I was going to, maybe if you would allow me to flavor it but I think 2 bonus dice kind of is better. I'll take that instead.
Okay.
My assistance was useless.
2 bonus dice. Okay.
So, and this is why...
Wait, hold up.
Yep.
We can burn Wrath if you want.
You can do Wrath rerolls.
No, it's not important for me to win over this intimidation, although it is cool. I actually like failing this and seeing what happens.
I'm
gonna pull out the las pistol that I've been carrying.
Nope, don't do that.
I'm not aiming it at anything. I'm just making sure that it's available if I need it, because I'm currently the only one on this side of the blast door with 2 combat servitors and an unarmed Arlara.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Shank, you were saying?
I was just going to
Listen
say.
here, you mechanical little shit! Like, and you interrupt me as I'm like still angry, pointing at them.
I could try and threaten him with my inquisitorial powers. Just say I could have you burned at the stake for this. Heretic.
Let's see. Go ahead and you roll your intimidation. I'm curious to see what you get.
Should I add any influence or?
You may have, I think it's 1 or 2 for the rosette. Probably, I think it's 1. I don't think there. It might be something. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
If your rosette's anything like my rosette, it's a +1 to leadership or intimidate if they respect your office.
Oh, okay. Then that's very key.
If he respects my office,
that's very key. Then in fact, you would have no bonus die.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was just wondering, does he fear me? Does he not?
And yeah, it becomes very clear as the tech priest just almost laughs in binary, which is a very disturbing thing to hear if you're not a tech priest. Like it just comes across as like a screech, like an unholy noise. And he just says, why don't you leave my spire? Or tell you what, if it motivates you to leave me to my work, I'll tell you what you came here to find, because I'm sure one of you is one of those vile witches. And he actually like points with a mechadendrite coming out of his back at your ranger friend that has sort of stayed behind Torvian at this point.
Okay. I really wish I had telepathy at this point. I could just talk to you without him noticing. So I'm not going to say anything out of character, just a metagame.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say out in character.
Oh, well, can I interrupt you real quick?
Go for it.
It's like, okay, here you listen, you fucking mechanical piece of shit. Look, you're doing. How dare you make me have to come over here now and defend a fucking Xenos in front of you? But we're in the employ of the rogue trader Verconius. You know, like I'm like really getting mad now and being like, and don't you? Now you're just laughing and okay, this is it. Like, give me one chance. Hold me back, brother Herod. Hold me back right now. I'm about to purge this. I'm really mad right now.
I love it.
Brother Hod puts a restraining hand on your shoulder.
Yeah.
But nods at you.
I'm stumped. Should I burn you at the stake right now? Should I?
I will start shooting as soon as you give me the word. So go ahead. Do
Brother
what you want.
Herod.
No, I want the information first. I
Right.
prize information above all else. I can kill him later.
Again, there's that sort of chuckle in binary, and they say, you there, servitor. And he points at the one closest to Torvian. See them to the back. And the servitor leaves his post and just sort of stands a little bit closer to Torvian, but not in a hostile way, just sort of like, hey, I'm here now.
I will go with Torvian. Sister, would you accompany us?
With pleasure.
Corporal
Just
Shank,
get away from this person.
if you could try and get some more information from this Magos.
Oh, you're going to leave me here with him? Fine.
Get as much information as you can. And
If we leave a party member at each situation we run into today, we're gonna run out of party members.
Yeah, Brother Hod will bend over and whisper in your ear, this one has fallen.
I know.
Yeah,
Right, if you guys want to go off and leave me with the Magos, fine. I probably won't start shooting.
Out of character, I would highly recommend you do not split the party. But if you really do wish to split it, I can flavor it a certain way. I would highly recommend not splitting the party.
Well, then I feel like our only option right now is to start fighting.
Or we can just follow the servitors.
Yeah, the
fight
server
on the
looks
way
like
back
it's going to
out.
lead you
There's-
somewhere.
We can fight on the way back out if we really want to.
Yep,
Okay.
Okay. Fine. I'll go with you.
Yeah, I normally don't like try to railroad you, quote unquote, that way, but trust me, you do not want to split up a party like that. Especially looking at Shank's defense, like, yeah, you do not want to split the party. All right. So, the servitor is going to begin leading you to the north. And the door automatically opens for him as he approaches. And in the room beyond, what you're seeing is actually another tech priest. They appear to be of lower rank, or at least their robes aren't as red and gold. And the servitor just continues walking forward. And as you emerge into the room, let me move for the stream here. So what you see are two things, I believe. Nope, that light source is not on, so I'll turn it on in a second. What you see is to your left, there's what appears to be sort of a container room full of supplies of metal, of rockcrete, of plasteel, raw materials for the spire to consume. And there's a few servitors moving about, moving things from point A to point B, etc., etc. There is a tech priest present, again, lower rank. He appears to be working at some form of a cogitator. It doesn't even turn around if they hear you coming, just continues at their work. And what you see is far in the distance, down a dark corridor. What you are seeing is what are essentially force fields, like big blue sparking and sort of not sparking, jolting force fields that are containing something. You don't know what, but if they have force fields in place, it's probably not good.
I'm going to come up to this tech priest and kind of peer over his shoulder and do something along the lines of, "What you doing, buddy?"
Okay. Remind me what your tech score is.
My tech by itself is a 3. My pool is
Combined
7.
score. 7?
7.
Go ahead and roll me a tech. And this will be to see if you can decipher what it is he is doing. 5 successes. You actually can shift that for glory or additional information if you so wish.
I'm going to go for additional information.
Okay, so I'll give you base information and then I'll ask for your question. So what you're noticing is that the tech priest is actually working to control the force field manually. And that strikes you as odd, perhaps, because that's the sort of thing you leave a servitor to do, not an actual tech priest.
What force field?
One over here. Like, if I were to move it for the stream and ping over here, you see these...
shift ping.
Yeah, let me shift ping. That'll help.
It's over to the right.
Oh,
Yeah,
to the right.
here.
I see. Thank you. I did not scroll over far enough. Thank you.
No, it's a big map. It's one
a big map. Okay.
But yeah, you would see the force fields there, and you also see a big force field there as well.
Hmm.
Lovely. Yeah. I get the feeling that he sent us this way so that whatever's behind that force field will kill us and get us out of his hair. Obviously, I'm going to relay that this tech priest is trying to manually do something that a servitor should be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is he changing up the frequency or the like a vibrational frequency for the shield setting? Is that what he's doing? Like it's coming under different types of attacks?
I would say yes, and that is your question, just to make sure?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to put this in a way that isn't like tech priesting, because I've been reading Forges of Mars, and I have a few tech...
No, make it tech priesty.
Make it tech priesty? Okay. So, the tech priests usually work in what is known as hexagramic... I love it. Oh, Lord. So, the tech priests work in what is known as hexagramic math, which is this really lofty sort of math beyond math, if that makes any sense.
And it's base hex, or base 16.
Yeah. Like, it is like a level beyond what any normal human would know. And there's actually like a huge prominence thing in the mechanicus about knowing how to do this math. And what you're noticing, even with, maybe you're not a tech priest, but you've been around enough to know, this is on the level of a hexagrammatic primus. So someone that is extremely good at hexagrammic math.
So I'm going to relay the information to the team. Hey, whatever's behind that shield, it looks like they're having to
got a little
adjust the
mathlete defending
shield.
it.
They're having to adjust the shield constantly against whatever is behind there.
I'm going to scratch my head and go, so he's pressing the Y button every 5 seconds.
More along the lines of he's changing it from solid type, from a shield to block solid attacks, to a shield to block psychic attacks, to a shield to block lightning-based attacks. He's changing up the type of shield it is constantly because it's under different types of attacks.
Well,
We should probably not.
shoot him yet. Don't shoot him.
Yeah,
I
we're
was
not
gonna
shooting this
say-
guy
What are they
yet.
harboring?
I was gonna say interrupt him, but yeah, that works too.
Would I be
And-
able to see that? Would there be a list like where it's telling what the shield is controlling? Would it tell what's inside the room?
It does not say what's inside the room, unfortunately.
Hmm.
And
we
to
need to
keep
know.
the dramatic tension going, the servitor begins to walk towards that force fielded area. And it gets maybe about 6 or 7 meters away
I'm
from
following
everybody else and is like,
Okay.
please follow.
I shall continue.
I'm following. Bolt gun ready.
So, you see yet another tech priest at a similar console, and I would say with your number of successes that you can tell he's doing the exact same thing. He is working those force fields like a crazed madman kind of a thing. But unless you interrupt him, the servitor just continues to walk and stops right at the precipice of this sort of restricted area. And the servitor just sort of motions and says, you will find what the Magos has beyond this point.
So, can we walk through the shields, or
They will automatically lower if you give the command.
what is the command?
They don't say anything.
I doubt a servitor would have that sort of information.
And what I
wonder
would
if I should-
say is what you can see is that beyond these crates, or beyond these force fields here and here, what you're seeing are more crates of what are probably more frozen. But these are stacked deep. Like, these are not 1 or 2 high or deep. These are, like, if you were to go to the edge of the force field and look down, this seems to descend to the absolute bottom of the spire. There are maybe about 50 or 60 boxes stacked on top of each other.
Don't know about you guys, but I didn't get this far in this business to walk into these kind of things.
We have a melt-a-bomb?
I agree. This is one of the more obvious traps that I've humored.
Okay. I don't want to walk in
Open
there. I'm just gonna say it.
sesame.
Private, you can test your luck with that. I believe we have to talk to the Magos some more.
Yes, talk.
I
Do we
look,
not want to explore this area down this direction?
Yeah, I look further down.
So further down at this force field here.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you see at that force field, the one at the very end, is that it's actually opaque and it is concealing whatever is in there. And you just hear the sound of what could be a chainsword revving, what could be the sound of something just beating against this force field in almost a maddening pace. Like something tremendous is beyond this force field and it wants out. But the important hint I dropped there, you are hearing the sounds of a chainsword.
Guys, I smell chaos space marine.
How would you know that?
Actually, I don't think I would. I don't think I
Yeah,
fought
I was
them.
going to say, I don't think knowing your backstory, I don't think you know what a CSM is.
Brother, is that the sound of a chain sword?
It is indeed. There can only be so many things that are that big that can use a chain sword. As far as traps go, as far as ambushes go, this was a very good one. And Brother Hob will walk up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we can always turn backwards.
Unfortunately, if this is what I think it is, this needs to be dealt with.
Be it on your head. I'll walk with you.
Yeah. We can't let this thing live, whatever is behind this door or behind the force field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's that size that can wield a chainsword? Or what does size have to do with being able to wield a chainsword if you're talking large?
Well, we're about to find out.
And
Private, it is best
go
you
ahead.
don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
I'm about to be fighting it. I'm kind of need the information anyways.
And I would say that as Alara starts to come up the rear and come to join you, the servitor steps back. And, you probably have all seen this coming. Another force field springs up and blocks your escape. And at the same time, the wall that is obscuring whatever is behind this force field drops. And you see beyond something that, out of character, you know what this is. In character, what you see is an individual in blue and gold power armor. And they have a sort of almost like an Egyptian style headset or helmet that goes up and forms a sort of two squares with a line down the middle. And it is striped blue and gold, just like the rest of their armor. Now, they are still behind the force field at the moment, but there is now a force field covering your retreat.
Instead of Lara was on our side of the force field?
No, she is actually on the other side, and she starts shouting and says, "Hey, no, what are you doing?" And you look back, and servitors from all around the spire are converging on her, and she shouts, "Okay, I think they want me for whatever it is Magos is due. I'm gonna bail."
Get Jock to get somewhere safe.
Don't have to tell me twice.
I will find you.
Oh, don't worry. I'll find you. And yeah, what you see is Alara maybe doing a little bit of Eldar Kung Fu, quote unquote, as she works her way through the servitors. But Alara does disappear into the depths of the hive. Or not the hive, the spire.
I'm going to check the power load of my hell gun and go, let's get this over with.
Yep. Brother
Yeah,
Hod will
absolutely.
pull out his pistol and power sword. So the shield is still up?
The shield is still up, yes.
Okay, well, Brother Hod will walk up to it and say, What have you done to this place?
And the Thousand Suns stops what they're doing. And you, of course, see them. They've got a chainsword. They've got bolt pistol, standard, Chaos Space Marine accoutrements. But they look at you, or at least they, their helmet looks at you directly, Brother Harad, and they say, "I was not expecting to find another one of my kind here."
We stopped being kin millennia ago. I am
Call
not
it
your
what
kind.
you like. However, you and I are in very much the same position.
I seem to have more room.
Yes, you're right. And almost for effect, he clangs his revving chainsword against the force field, which rebuffs it. He says, "I have been trapped here ever since this planet has been flung from its original location. That Magos has kept me in here doing vile experiments, but I actually kind of like them."
They don't sound vile enough.
And with the edge of his chainsword, he actually points behind Krantz at the crates and says, "All those came from his experiments."
That is what our Medicae surmised, that they had been tampered with.
I don't have enough explosives for this heresy.
But I am no fool. I know that if I lower this force field, you will kill me instantly. Thus, I would propose an exchange.
So you have control of your force field.
I have ways of influencing those controlling it, yes.
So do I.
And of course, you can't see anything but his helmet, but his helmet swivels to look at you, Shank. And he says, "Ah, so you do."
Get out of my mind, witch.
And there's actually a power that he is going to attempt, and I think this will be interesting. Let me just quickly find it again. I thought I had it written down.
May I try to deny?
You certainly may. I just have to look up the DN, because isn't it DN plus 2?
Yeah, deny is DN plus 2.
Okay.
Depends on what it's trying to roll.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. And yes, okay. So the DN is going to be your willpower. So what is your willpower?
4.
Okay, so his roll would be against a 4. If you wanted to deny this, this would be a difficulty of 6.
I'm going to have to try.
Okay. Let's have you roll first. Okay, you came close. Maybe re-roll.
Is that just the blue button?
Yep.
Yep.
7 successes is enough that, yes, you
No.
do feel him reaching out and almost brushing against your mind, but you steel yourself and push it away using your extensive Inquisition training.
What was he trying to do, just out of interest?
Out of curiosity, I will tell you that he was attempting to do a psychic shriek. As in, he was trying to more or less overload your mind so that you would be, shall we say, more pliable.
Okay. I want to kill him now, but I can't get him.
You say you want...
Can I malfunction the force field?
Possibly. I think there's actually a power for that. Or you could just shoot the force fields, like the not the poles, but where they're emitting from. You could shoot the emitters out, I suppose.
I was thinking I could probably use... I have subvert the machine.
That's what it is. I was looking for this.
Yeah.
Subvert machine.
I could subvert the machine.
Remains inoperable for 1 minute.
So yeah, while he's doing that, I'll say, you want to propose a trade, but you've already proven that you can't be trusted.
Turns to look at you, Brother Harad, and says, "What if I were to tell you what's really going on in this hive? Would that be a significant enough exchange?"
Again,
Depends
nothing
what
you
you
say
want in
can be
return.
trusted.
You Imperium types, always so mistrustful of others.
Only the ones who deserve mistrust. Traitor.
He actually he laughs a little about that, and it's almost vocoded in a way, like it's distorted in some fashion. But let's go to Shank now. So Shank, it looks like subverting the machine would be a difficulty of 4.
It would.
So yeah, go ahead and let's see what you get.
Nope.
Only a 3. So unless you re-roll,
I didn't roll...
burn your last wrath.
No, burn my last wrath. I want him dead. I'm the Inquisitor.
all
I'm
right,
going to burn that reroll.
I believe 5 successes. Yes. The force field, I don't have a way of pulling away the force field, but the force field does drop. And I'm going to let Brother Harad and Sister Krantz, if you were doing what I think you're doing, and you're keeping an eye on this guy, you guys would essentially get first action before we move into initiative order.
All right. Yep.
Okay. I think you get first dibs here, Brother Harad. I'm going to spend glory to go right after you, so go ahead.
I'm okay with you taking the first shot because I was going to
Okay.
jump into melee.
I don't think y'all are going to have to spend any glory because y'all are basically getting the surprise action here.
Yeah, both
Hmm.
of us are getting a surprise action. So you
Okay.
take your first shot, and then I'll jump into him.
All right. Bolter, I am actually 12 spaces away, so I am in short range.
Mhm.
So I'm getting the +1.
Being a
Right.
space marine, I wouldn't
an extra
mind if you
die.
wasted a clip.
Yeah, an extra damage die. Oh, that's extra damage die, so it doesn't actually change the regular attack roll.
It's not a it's a damage die. I thought it was.
For the rapid fire trait.
Rapid fire 2. These weapons are capable of unleashing hail of death at close range. If you hit with a rapid fire weapon, you gain extra damage dice equal to the rapid fire rating.
I've been doing rapid fire wrong then. I've been using it for attack roll, not for damage
I
roll.
will. I think I want to spend my wrath to reroll those 3, even though it's not really worth it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, does that miss? Is the
What does that? Do I have to know if it misses before I spend the wrath?
You know what? I think that's fair to you guys because wrath is such a commodity. That actually does hit.
Okay. Then I will not spend the wrath. I get to do 2 extra bonus damage for dice for damage. Obviously, I can't shift.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
so just an 11.
So
well, no,
you-
bolt guns have
Oh, it's brutal.
brutal.
So does the 3 count as a
3 is an
plus?
extra damage, and the 6 is an extra 2 damage. So it's 10 plus 3.
Okay, so it's actually 13 damage. Okay.
Yeah.
So carefully aim your bolt pistol, fire, and the shell maybe hits him in the right shoulder, in his right pauldron. And you see that for the most part, the explosion sort of washes over the pauldron. And when the debris and smoke clears, you see that there's a heavy dent in the pauldron, but it has not actually pierced through the CSM's armor.
Jesus. We don't see the sand. Okay.
No, unfortunately, no sand inside.
No olive
If it-
dust. All right.
If he had dust inside, he wouldn't be speaking.
Oh, true.
And Brother Herald will charge to engage with his power sword.
All right.
And outside of charge range, so.
So as you have found out, the difficulty to hit this guy is a 4.
Attack.
Wow.
Whoa.
All right.
So that's interesting because you did succeed, but there is a combat complication.
Yes.
But you could shift 2 of those 6s for additional damage, glory, whatever you want.
I will shift 1 for glory because we're a little low on that.
Okay.
And I'll shift the other 1 for additional damage.
Okay.
So do you want me to roll damage then complication?
Well, as long as they both get rolled, we'll figure out what happens.
All right. So DBD 1 damage.
All right, so 12 AP3. And then, yeah, let's see what the combat complication is. Interesting. So,
All right.
same thing almost happens with you, Harad, as you step forward with your sword, let's say maybe sweeping up across from the left to the right. And as you hit him with your power sword, you definitely leave a gash in his armor. Like, you have done more damage than Sister Krantz has done. But the sheer almost mass and weight and force beyond your swing, like maybe in your zeal you've overestimated how much power you put into it. And it's very easy for the Thousand Sun to simply sidestep or at least begin to turn so that your momentum carries you to the floor and you are now prone. And yeah, at this point, we are going to go into actual initiative order. Now, of course, I do want to ask, because I want to be fair, do you guys want to actually roll initiative, or do you want to do the player enemy thing?
Like
We'll
the
just-
player enemy.
Yeah.
I think that would be standard unless otherwise.
Okay. In that case, I am actually going to spend 1 ruin to let the Thousand Sun go first. I think that's only fair of him. So the Thousand Sun is going to look at you, Brother Harad, now that you've engaged him in melee, and he is going to depress the trigger of his chainsword, causing it to rev very powerfully and very noticeably. And he is going to just straight cleave downwards with his chainsword to see if he can hit you. So what is your defense?
I think it's a measly 3. Yep, 3.
I think
Okay.
lying prone reduces it by something as well.
I'm
1 or 2
trying
maybe.
to look through the
I don't even have the
reference
handout
guide.
up.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at the, let's see, prone.
I know being prone increases your ranged attack abilities.
Right. Does it mess with your melee? Yes. According to the quick sheet, it's -2 defense if they're within 5 meters of you. So what is your defense after all that?
1.
Oh dear. Well, I'm pretty sure this is going to hit you, but hey, maybe he'll roll a complication.
Who knows?
No. He only got 3 successes, but with you prone, 3 is enough.
Well, he can't shift, so that's good.
That is good, yeah. So, let's go ahead and roll his damage.
And
Of
it
course
is
he rolls
brutal,
that
so you
much.
want to do the +1 on there, I think.
Well, I think it's even worse because it's brutal. So
God.
that is
Well,
that
we
is a lot.
need to know if one of them is a 5. Because a 5 and 6 is +2
Yeah,
damage.
you'd want to re-roll that and have the +1 on there to the modifier.
Right. Yeah, I'll just re-roll it. Well, I'll re-roll those 3. And you know what? I'll just roll them manually. That way we can see what the result is. All right. So looks like 2 6. So basically 2 6s. So that is a grand total of, if I can math properly,
18. So you had the 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 damage.
So it does 19 damage.
Woof. Rough. Resilience of 9, so it's 10 damage. So I'll try and soak best I can.
Godspeed.
What's that button again? Determination?
Determination, yeah.
Yeah. It's next to combat initiative.
Okay. You are
4.
able to soak 4 of that to your shock.
That would still kill me.
Yeah. But yeah, this chainsword hit, if it were not for your, because you have a refractory field, yeah?
Yeah.
So were it not for your force field, that probably would have cleaved you in 2. But your force field is able to more or less provide enough of a buffer that you're able to roll out of the way in time, that it does not fully pierce you, but you still get a tremendous gash that goes from left to, or right to left down your torso.
Yeah, I am mostly dead at this point. So I would like to propose that Brother Harad goes first.
Yeah,
No
standing up
objection.
and
Well, at this point, the Thousand Sun has gone, so all of us get to go before he gets to go again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. You know what? I'm gonna take a last.
Okay.
Do you mind if I go next? Right.
Actually, if you want to disengage and move back closer to me, I can come up next to you and bind your wounds a bit.
Well, I figure since I'm prone, it'll be a lot easier to shoot him without shooting me. So I don't know if I technically count as in melee since I'm not in melee.
Well, what I was saying was I can get to you and heal you if you move closer to me.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want health back.
That's not the Adeptus Astartes way.
Well, fair enough.
I am going to try and smite him.
Okay.
Considering the amount of armor he's got, this will probably be the best bet I have.
All right. What's the DN and or what's your target?
It's my opponent's defense is the difficulty, and the target is
4.
the Thousand Sun. Yeah.
And 6
Oh, praise the Emperor.
6 is certainly enough.
I can't shift that though, so it is.
isn't
Why
it
can't
4?
you-
Wait,
why can't you shift it?
It's 4.
The
The DM is 4, right?
Mm-hmm. It is 4.
But the thing with this psychic power is you need at least 3 successes over to shift for an extra damage.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't know that. Thank you.
You could shoot for a point of glory, though.
Yes.
But I will do that since we are running low on that. Thank you for reminding me. So I'll roll a d6 as a d3. So 1, 2 is 1, 3, 4 is 2. You get the idea.
Yep, I get the idea.
You can just roll a d3.
So 2 damage.
2 damage. So it only is this mortal wounds? Is this shock?
These are mortal wounds that can't be mitigated by shock.
Okay. So,
would you like me to roleplay it?
yeah, please do.
So I've been thinking about this. So a lot of people just shoot lightning out of their hands like Darth Sidious, and it's a bit too cliche for me. So I'm going to shout some unwords that hurt the ears of anyone who hears it, and like a distortion of air kind of like flies at him and kind of unmakes his flesh and armor.
I like it. I like it a lot. And yeah, Brother Harad, what you see is that the Thousand Sun recoils at this psychic assault. And it definitely seems that Shank has once again proven invaluable with his skills.
So there's a hole in this dude's armor now?
There is not a hole, if I understood correctly, because it was a psychic assault. But he basically took what's the equivalent of brain damage, if I understood correctly.
Okay, because from the description, he was saying that he unmade part of his armor.
Yeah,
Well, and flesh. It's more like it kind of bleed into each other because.
Oh, I see what it is. Okay, so yeah, then maybe there is some sort of a hole in his upper pectoral. We'll say right side, so same side as where he was shot initially. We'll say that there's maybe a bit of exposed flesh that has melded with the surrounding armor.
I aim and target that. Not like a called shot, but just I aim for that spot, you know?
Okay.
Bolt gun, same range. I ignore cover penalties when I aim, so.
Now, do you take any penalties for shooting into melee is the question.
No, aiming negates that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There
and
you go.
You can shift at least one of those to glory or for damage.
I think I want to shift 2 to damage here.
Okay.
Because
you can't, because that'll drop you down to a 3.
No, I have 7. I need 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Is it
That's
not
what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
You need 4 defense. So
I'm counting the wrath die success in that counting, and that's why my math's all wrong. Thank you. You're right, Ben.
Yeah.
I can only move 1 to damage.
Okay.
So I would do that. I'll move 1 to damage.
Okay. Again, it's all part of relearning the system.
but you still get +1 damage.
Yeah, you do still get 1.
No, that's set up right.
Yeah. Brutal. I rolled
he
a
has
3
the
is
modifier of 1
damage.
already.
Yeah, he's got
the modifier is already set up. That's just
So
how
he
bad
rolled
I
a
roll.
1 and a 2.
Yeah. That's just literally how bad I roll.
So do you want to
cool.
reroll
So
that with wrath or?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to reroll that wrath.
It's only 2 dice. So you're probably not going to get any extra damage.
Yeah, but the difference of like getting him with a wound, and I want to do actually damage to this guy. It's really important to me that I do it. So I'm gonna.
Well, he got hit for what, 15 earlier? Because 12 with 3 AP and it did nothing.
Oh, it did something. Even Kranz's first attack did something.
I'm spending my wrath. I'm gonna reroll.
Okay.
Okay, just gonna get a 1. Okay, nice.
So so if you'll imagine, there's a pauldron dented here, there's that wound that Shank did here, and you sort of hit somewhere in between them and cause a small hole, but a hole nonetheless, into the armor of the Thousand Sun. And you're doing damage. You're definitely doing damage.
Okay.
It's just giant fist-sized dents into this guy's armor from the bolt gun rounds.
So I think that leaves either Torvian or Brother Harad before the Thousand Sun can go again.
I'll go ahead and hop up in there. Let me see. My movement is 6. So that'll put me here. And so is Brother Harad blocking line of sight or anything since he is prone?
No, he is not blocking line of sight, but he is technically still in melee, if I read that correctly. So if you roll a complication, you would hit him.
I'm gonna risk it.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Mm-hmm. Let me see here. Combat. And I am within short range now. So let me see here. Don't get any bonus dice. Attack roll.
Wow. That is a crit. Very nice. You can shift one of those for glory or damage.
I can shift both of those. I have a total of 8.
So you do.
So I'm
You
gonna
shift for the extra critical effect.
Could do that as well.
That's true. I'm gonna roll the critical to see what it is.
Sure.
To see if I have to push it. Let me see here. Not that one. This one.
Interesting.
1d3 mortal wounds and is knocked down, and I can spend a glory to increase it by 1 wound. Okay, then. So, yeah, I'm going to give us a glory. So one of those is going to glory, and the other one I'm going to push towards damage. So it's going to be 1d3 plus 1 mortal wounds in addition to my regular damage. So 1 additional die. Well, 2 additional die because I am rapid fire in short range, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So you should have 3 additional extra damage die.
Right. No, that's the modifier. This is the dice. There we go.
All right, so that is a total of 12 damage, no AP. Go ahead and roll your mortal wound damage.
And that's just a
1d3 plus 1.
roll 1d3 plus 1. I think I'm doing that right. No,
Slash R.
Yeah, you need the slash. All right, 3 mortal wounds. So yeah, you come forward with your combat shotgun and pump it and fire into the mass of blue and gold ahead of you. And sure enough, we'll say for thematic sake, you guys have really zoned in on the right side. This time, your combat shotguns opens up those holes even further, and blood and viscera begin spewing from the location that you guys have been focusing on. So you guys are doing some amazing damage to this guy. However, he is still standing. Well, no, he is knocked prone, so he does get knocked
He's
prone.
alive.
He is alive.
You're welcome, Brother Harad.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brother Harad, it is your turn now.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Run
Brother Harad
away.
will pop up and try and stab him with this spire sword.
Okay, go ahead and do so.
Now this is the knife.
Call that a sword.
No fair. They took my
All right.
staff.
You know
They
what?
took my
I
staff.
You
can
This
can
is
push
cheating.
both of those.
I can shift both of those because his defense went down to 2.
Yep.
And I will shift both of those to extra damage. For a total of 15 AP3.
Yep, he's going to have to soak that. So you said it was the determination button on the sheet, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what he does. And I am spending ruin to do this for him. All right, 3. So that takes off 3. You have AP of 3. He has that. Oh boy. So let me put it this way. If you were to breathe on him, he would fall over. Well, he's already on the ground. If you were to breathe on him, he might expire. But unfortunately, he is literally at 1 wound. Which means, as we start an entirely new round, the Thousand Sun does get to do probably what is his last action. And the Thousand Sun raises his left hand, and you see that it begins to charge with maleficent light, a dark flame, and he thrusts it forward suddenly and unleashes an unholy sort of warp energy storm at all of you. So again, this, psychic power, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. He is doing Soul Shrivel, which is a multi-attack. But my question is, do I add for multi? Does it just automatically do multi? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Let me have a read, because I've been looking at a few of those kind of powers.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. So what multi-attack does is for each target beyond the first, the difficulty is increased by 2. So if he's hitting all of us, he has to roll what, like
Real
an
high.
8? Yeah.
Roll an 8.
So
Okay.
I think that means that you can use his power for multi-attack, but you don't have to, and you can choose the targets for it.
Okay.
But I think for multi-attack, there are limits to which targets, but I think we're all within the limits.
well, anyone who's targeted, just so you know, you all are getting +2 to your defense for this roll. To resist the effects of a psychic power due to my purity of faith.
Okay, so he's got to have to. Okay,
So,
so there's 4 of us in here. He's adding 6 to his DN. because it's +2 for each target beyond the first. So each of us, like I've got defense of 3, so it's a total of 9 that he'd have to roll plus another 2 from that faith now. So he needs to roll an 11 just to hit me.
Sounds right. Say
Oh, wait,
he
no.
doesn't specifically hit you. I think what he's going to do then is he sees Brother Harad as a threat. So he's going to go for Brother Harad. That's the first target. The second target is going to be Torvian. So he's just getting an additional +2 on this. And if I read the stat block correctly, I can spend 1 ruin to roll 66. So if I understand that correctly, that means if I spend 1 ruin, he gets 6 extra dice. Sounds right. We'll roll with it.
Wow.
I don't suppose there's any chance of me trying to deny this.
There is, but it would take up your action.
Might be worth it.
I'll try and deny.
All right, go ahead and roll before I need to see if you do it.
What was the power
So
again?
which
Oh hell no, that
Yeah.
is not denied.
That is not denied.
who are which?
So
Soul
it's-
Trail.
I don't see the.
It's
the
on
soul-
page 281.
Hold on a sec. Well,
And again,
where are you getting the extra 66 from?
It is part of the Chaos Space Marine bonuses. Or no, yeah, it is. No, it's an ability. It says I can spend 1 ruin to roll 66. It's not very clear what that means, though. You know what? We'll do it this way, and if we have to change it going forward, we can. We'll do it this way. But basically, this is his last act, so thematically, he possibly gets something off.
Okay.
I tried.
All right, so yeah. So the DN, since he's doing a multi attack, it increases the total target number he has to hit by 2.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever's defense he beats +2
That's for
will
his
will suffer
determination.
the effects.
That's a determination roll. You can spend a ruin for his determination to be 66 instead of that. That's not to add dice to anything. That's to do a determination roll of 66 for his shock absorber.
I get it now, so I should have rolled more dice. Again, that's why we're doing this, because if I'm gonna throw a CSM at you guys, I want to make sure I'm doing it right.
No,
Okay.
you rolled the right. You rolled a 66 determination.
Okay, so I'm doing something right here. All right, so in that case, he only has this many die. Let's see what he rolls.
So he needs to beat a 5 for the both of us.
I can spend
A
a point of
7.
ruin.
Because we get the +2 from Sister Krantz.
Oh yeah.
Let me double check my defense.
He
I
only
think my
gets a
defense might be a 2.
5, which with Sister Kranz's effect, I believe that does not hit you guys.
Probably just saves your butts.
Mm-hmm.
I pray.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, as the energies of the warp sort of wash around you all, Sister Kranz's faith is almost emanating out of her in an aura-like effect, and throughout the we'll say warp flame washing over all of you, you just see the shining beacon of Krantz as a pillar of faith.
Yeah, it emanates off of my rosette, right? Like the ecclesiasticus, like little thing around my neck, right? Like it glows almost like a a Lord of the Rings elven little medallion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that like it just glows as the dark presence and like meets it.
I love it. But before his turn ends, he does have a free action of talking, and as he sees that his thing has had no effect, he says, "Very well, just do with me what you will. It is a better fate than being stuck here."
As a Darth Vader. No.
If you all wouldn't mind if I took this one.
Oh, absolutely.
I bet.
Decapitated, dude.
Yeah.
Just don't miss. Because if you
So-
miss, I'm going to laugh.
You
So,
have the most personal touch to this, so absolutely.
I'm going to
Oh, did the
Stand-
Thousand Suns stand back up?
No, he is still prone.
I'm gonna stand over him and shout in his face, "Fury is my shield!" And
That's more than enough.
yeah, I'll shift that for glory.
Okay. And like I said, you just need to roll. I don't even think you need a success on your damage, but roll it anyway, just to be sure. Yeah, he's dead. Describe how you kill him for thematic
So,
sake.
Harad will stand over him, shout, "Fury is my shield," and just two-hand plunge the power sword right into the eye slit of the Thousand Suns helmet. Just the power sword fizzles and pops as it shatters the armor glass eye lenses and just hisses into the Thousand Suns skull as it fractures and punctures its way through. And Brother Hod can feel it pass out the back and into the metal grating, the metal flooring behind his head.
Yeah, he ain't getting back up from that one.
Awesome.
Right. Since the fight's over, I'm going to shout, "Trooper Torvin,
Yes, sir.
I think someone needs medical attention. Looking at the state of Brother Harald."
Brother Hod only has a couple of really open gashes. You can only see a little bit of bone. It's fine.
Brother Harald wants to come to this side. This is totally out of character, but Shank, you would know how long your power to hold that force field down lasts, right?
Yep. And it's not going to last much longer.
Yeah, Brother Hod will take his blade and clean it as he walks away from the corpse.
Bring the Space Marine with you.
Yep. All right. Harad will drag the corpse by the armor.
And we'll say for thematic sake that right as you get over the precipice of the force field, it springs back to life.
Yeah, of course. In Indiana Jones fashion. Yeah, of course.
Right. Sister, would you accompany me, please?
With pleasure.
I'm going to walk over to the dead Space Marine and go pray for my soul and start rummaging around and see if I can find anything pertinent to our mission.
All right, let's make a roll of this. Let's do an investigation here. I think would work.
Yeah. Yep. Investigation.
5 successes. I'll say you can shift for glory if you so wished, or additional information.
How much glory do we have? Got about 4?
We have 4, yeah.
We should be fine on that.
Information.
All right, so I'll ask for what question you have at the end. So what you're finding is that there are actually a number of Eldari soul stones, like spirit stones, on his person, which is maybe a little bit odd. Why is 1,000 Suns harvesting soul stones? You find, we'll put a number to it, you find about 6 soul stones. You also find what is essentially a edict from probably the chapter master that says something along the lines of "Journey to Trollius, sow discord, praise be to Zeech's name," etc., etc. And tell me if this is fair or not, because again, I'm trying to judge whether it is. Would seeing Zeech in written form be a corruption test? I feel like it would.
Yes.
Okay. So with Kranz's help, I believe you are rolling against 3, but you have 2 additional dice.
Okay, so where's my resist corruption? All right, 2 additional dice. My resist corruption is pretty high already. But okay.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. So you just see the word and your brain hurts for a moment, but you pass through the pain, no problem.
Okay. So additional question time. Journey to Trollius. What question should I ask?
Maybe what cabal the 1,000 Suns from?
Are there any indications of additional conspirators on this edict?
There is. It's very brief, but I would say it might spark something for Brother Harad or Sister Krantz to do. What you see is the name of several ecclesiarchal buildings that are listed specifically within each of the hives, because there's 3 hives on Trollius. You're in one of them, Borak. And in the Borak hive, there is the sanatorium listed, the one you guys were just at. And there's a sanatorium listed in each of the other 2 hives.
Okay, that's not good. I think we have a cult that I need to put down.
We need to put down.
And judging by their benefactors, this could be quite the cult.
I'm gonna go ahead and do my Medicaid test for patching up Brother Harad.
Do we have to take any corruption at all? Just witnessing a Chaos Space Marine?
That's what I'm debating. Like, I feel like it would be. Yeah, let's get. Let's deal with this Medicaid, then we'll do corruption, because this Medicaid is a problem. Because correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't getting a critical failure on Medicaid do something?
Nope.
Huh.
Oh.
Well, I'll take the ruin nonetheless.
I mean, you could have it so that I don't heal quite as much, but it's 1 wound restored, and then I can shift Exalted Dice to restore more wounds.
Okay. I'm gonna say you are only able to shift 1 die.
Okay, so you get 2 wounds back.
Yeah, better than nothing.
And then let's, for sake of argument, to be somewhat fair, let's have everyone roll a corruption. And again, remember you have the 2 additional die from Sister Krantz.
From me.
What was the corruption for?
The corruption is just seeing and interacting with the CSM.
Fair enough.
So, hey, I get a point of ruin there, but you do pass.
And that's under conviction, right?
Conviction.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work at all. What?
Yeah, that didn't roll anything.
Oh, that's a +2 mod, so I want +2 bonus dice.
Mm-hmm.
There's a number in there.
What happens when you roll a peril when you're...
Yeah, I mean,
I think that means you take double, but I think I pass.
You do pass, yeah, so you're fine there. I do get still the point of ruin, so yay, ruin. This is clearly how I'm supposed to refill. Oh, dear.
Wait a second, that's not right, because I have a base number of 3, but it's only rolling the bonus dice. I'm going to roll it by hand.
Yeah, I'll say just roll it by hand. Let's see what you get.
First die is the wrath die.
Okay.
Don't forget my +2 if you... Okay, you did. 3 + 2.
All right, so that's only 2 successes.
That's still only 2 successes.
Which is not enough. All right, let me...
If you're pure, no.
I may, totally love corruption, and we're gonna do it right. All right, so... if I read this correctly, what we need to do now is you need to roll, or do I need to roll?
He's not advancing his stage. It's only his first point of corruption. He doesn't advance his stage until 5.
Okay, so it's not like Dark Heresy in that line where if you rolled poorly enough, you would mutate on the spot.
Yeah, it's every 5 corruption in a corruption level, and then test malignancy.
Got it. Again, that's why we're doing this, learning as we go. Okay. Yeah, so Brother Harad, you feel a little bit of taint in the warp as you look at the Thousand Sun.
Well, if you don't mind,
yeah,
if you don't mind me doing this for you, buddy. I mean, I imagine it's sort of like you just killed this thing, right, with your sword, as it's like its soul and its eyes go like blue with the force as you stab through where your sword interacts with it, and it's kind of like you just like inhaled corruption. It's kind of just like the gas of it, and you just kind of like puke a little bit, right, like after like getting the swords, and you go, it's like because as your cells or whatever fight the corruption, as the Space Marines do. I think that's lore appropriate, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Nothing can be uncorrupted once it has been open to taint. Not even the uncorruptible.
Now, what I would say is the benefit of doing this is, since you have already taken corruption, Brother Harad, I would simply remind you that unless I have drastically misremembered the lore, his brain's kind of still intact, if you get my meaning.
That would make him do another corruption test.
It certainly would. But you know what? We do need information, and can't lie through his teeth if I have his memories.
I'm going to hold up my hand. I really wouldn't do that.
Yeah, what are you suggesting? I actually don't understand what you're suggesting.
He's suggesting that he eat a piece of the brain so that he can absorb some of the memories. But I
didn't even know Astartes could do that, so you're fine with me.
Oh yeah, what is it, the Almaphagia?
Something like that.
I thought that's why you had to have the Medicase to get the gene stuff out of people. I didn't know you could do that. Okay, well, yeah, God no, don't touch that stuff.
They can shoot acid too. They spit acid.
Some of them. It
Jesus.
depends. It depends. Yeah, they have the Betcher's gland.
I
But
think
like
there's
the-
only
Yeah.
one chapter that doesn't have it. It's malfunctioning.
Probably the
remember what it is.
salamanders, because that'd be ironic.
Yeah, it would.
Well, it's the. I know that the Imperial Fists don't have the Betcher's gland.
I think that was the one.
Oh, rip my Dorn boys. Okay.
Oddly enough, the
fine.
one that I think it's the one for Jaya, that's the one that malfunctions most often.
Well,
So-
don't do it. I mean, I don't know what you're suggesting, but I look at you and it's like, if you have any
I
if you have
start
any interest in
pulling the
interacting
helm
with this thing,
off
I would.
the corpse.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, don't do
Harad,
it. Nope.
Harad, do not interact with the heretic. It is dead.
Do we still need some more information? Because I know how to get.
There are other ways of
Accurate
getting
information.
information.
I don't think
This
we
is
need
not
any,
one.
I don't think any information that you're talking about getting. I don't see how you can get any information from a dead guy. But any information that he has will not help us get out of this box.
No, but it'll give us more information on what is happening in this hive and on this planet.
And you know what it serves, and any information it can give you could lead us to our doom. As I like really get kind of like antsy here. Like you're not seeing the risks of this.
Brother Hod will stand up to his full height above Sister Krantz and say, I understand the risks just fine. I'm
yeah.
Adeptus Astartes. I am
Can you
made stronger than mortals for this very reason.
Can you leadership me or intimidate me into do something? Because that sounds perfect. Like,
Yeah, if you guys want to
I
handle
feel
it
like
that
you
way.
need to do that because, like, I don't know what you're planning on doing, but I know it ain't kosher, you know. Like, so
well,
that's the thing. But then
they're
you're like,
both-
don't you freaking talk to me about what's kosher? I'm gonna start. Like, that's the part where you're going to me, and I will acquiesce if you roll well.
Yeah, well, don't
That's
hold your
fair.
breath.
If you have like an equipment or referencing you gives you a bonus, it should give you a bonus vis-a-vis like
I don't have any of that.
like my chaplet, like a symbol of authority. I would
I have
accept that.
a Rosarius.
I would
If
give
that
you an
gives you the
additional
symbol-
die. Yeah.
If that gives you the symbol of authority benefit, then you should get a +1 on this test
I
against
don't
me
think
for
it
sure.
does.
Okay.
But it is a symbol of authority for chaplains and such.
Yeah.
Well,
What would be
either
the
way-
difficulty for this? My will?
Yeah, let's say your will is your difficulty.
Okay. You have to get. Good luck. Mine's 4.
Yeah,
You rolled 2.
with the additional die, it would be a 3. Yeah, I'll burn my last wrath to reroll that.
That is
Hey.
enough.
Okay. So that's enough to get me to stand down, which
But
is what
not
I
me.
wanted you to do here.
I'm going to roll my intimidation because I've burned people for less than this.
I love it.
All right, well, before you roll your intimidation, because I don't think it's going to work on a Space Marine, because they're not beholden to the Inquisition like the rest of the Imperium is, because they're not
True.
technically
True.
a part of the Imperium, but they are, but they're not.
I'd still think you'd respect my authority on this.
I'd like to role play this one.
Yeah, let's role play this one because I think this one has some merit.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is a cool power dynamic and philosophy behind it a little bit. So absolutely.
So I don't get any bonuses from the icon or my ability.
I would say no, unfortunately.
Okay, fair enough. I'll just roll intimidation flatly.
Oh, he still works under Veronius though, right?
This is true.
Oh hell yes. He's
So
terrified.
it's like, you know, legally or not, you're still gonna get chewed out by the boss or whatever. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like, you know, like you do have that affiliation of like, fine, you could be right, but you could also be left here. Like I have, you know, like you
Yeah.
could be
Well,
whatever you want. Castle
yeah, so-
Rosentown.
I don't think Brother Harad is phased by any of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to role play it. I'd like you to role play it.
Yeah.
So
So
if you can convince me, I'll back down.
okay, so I'm gonna. Well, I'm not gonna pull out my rosette because I've been doing that far too often.
No, oh wait, that's so awesome. Kaskar, it's like the very first thing that happens, right? Is that you're like, I know I would pull out my rosette here, but I know we both know that that's not going to work or whatever. Like, you know, like that's like that, like literally, like what you just said is exactly what happens.
I love it.
Brother Harad, right now, you know I can't stop you. I can only warn you. His mind is warped, tainted flesh. Whatever secrets you might glean may be half-truths and deceptions. The risk isn't worth it. And for what it's worth, I can't help you in this situation, but I can make it a whole lot worse.
I just need a little bit of your faith, and inquisitorial acolyte.
I'm not going to shake my head or nod. I'm not
Well-
going to do anything. I'm just going to.
Even a creature such as this, as debased as it is, it can't lie to itself.
Heresy has been noted.
Totally out of character, but oh my god, yes, they can.
I think I will actually refer to this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a lesson on my sanatorium thing. So, like, I know I'm not going to stop you, but I am trying to help the Inquisitor here and be like, I know you think you're doing what you're doing is right, and we can't stop you about it. But I know your path here seems like you're walking in the light, but it is full of darkness, just like the sanatorium shone with light, and it was dark. This is a dangerous road, and this knowledge is whatever we gain is not worth your soul.
Brother Hod will drop to one knee so he's eye level with both Shank and Krantz. He'll put an arm on each of their shoulder and say, I value your companionship and your judgment. I will acquiesce in this. I believe you are wiser than most mortal humans I've met.
I thank you for not taking the first step on the road to damnation.
Well said.
All right, now let's get out of this cell.
Kratz, sister, do you want me to try to patch your wounds as well? You look a bit injured still.
No, it gives me power.
Fair enough.
In other words, at a later time, that'd be cool.
Now, before I try and break everyone out, the Admech, the Magos, he must die.
I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
Now they're agreed. I'm going to turn to the power field. So I think I've got a few options here. I could either try and make the power field malfunction, or I could try and make the adept at the console malfunction.
Well,
I think it'd be
what
cool
they
if you
were
did the
doing
adept,
before,
but you do.
what they were doing before was calibrating the shields. They weren't keeping them turned on. They were making it so that it was harder for the Space Marine to break out of them.
Fair enough. I'm just going to try and break the pylon.
Alrighty. Believe that is a.
Shall we line up at exactly where the shield is so that the instant it goes down, you can just step past so that they can't just like recalibrate and turn it back on?
Oh, I had this. So yeah, this is where the force field is.
Right. Let's walk up. Just Krantz, got to move up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll roll subvert.
4 is just more than enough. Yeah. So the force field drops, and actually, as you finally are able to see into the space beyond, your servitor buddy, quote unquote, is still there. However, there's been a drastic change in the lighting of the spire. Not only are all the lights on now, but all the tech priests that you had seen thus far, operating the consoles, they are expired as if someone had taken a great blow to their head from behind, and they are just sort of slumped over each of their consoles, dripping with oil and blood. As for the servitor at the very end, way over here, let me scroll so people can see where I'm pointing. Way over here, where the servitors were unloading and taking care of main supplies, that entire space is now empty. There are no crates, there are no barrels, there is nothing there.
You said our servitor got their servitor is still standing there. Is it showing signs of hostility as the shield comes down?
Just standing there.
I'm just gonna try walking past it.
Where's the material?
Do you ask the servitor this?
Yeah.
The servitor turns to you, Sister Krantz, And instead of the servitor's voice, the very robotic, very, brain dead voice, you actually hear the voice of the Magos. It's a pre-recorded message. And the message says, "Thank you for dealing with that problem for me. I knew that you Inquisition types would. Let's just say I have decided to relocate to a different spire. Of course, I'm not going to tell you where. That would ruin all the fun. But my experiments will continue. Have a nice day." And as the recording stops, the servitor begins to beep.
A speedy retreat, guys. Beat feet.
Yep.
All right, and I'm not even going to have you guys roll it to get out of range, but you guys sort of like, cool guys don't look at an explosion thing. You just start walking towards the entrance, and the servitor just detonates behind you.
Why does everything in this place want to kill us?
Such is life
it's
in
not
the
supposed to be here.
Emperor's
Yeah, I know
light.
it's a joke. Yeah.
But yeah, you guys do eventually find your way back to the entrance. I'll shift ping you guys so you can find yourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you see is that Jacta and your ranger buddy are actually on top of this crate, and they're just sort of looking at you guys like, what the hell happened?
Admech. Never, not even once. Told you who hate those people.
The
No.
ranger sort of says,
No Imperium to be saved.
And Lara says, I felt a great battle of minds. What was back there?
Corruption.
Can you be more specific?
No.
Okay. As a point of order, probably could have helped if I had my rifle.
We did not need it.
How would you have helped? You were on the wrong side of the force field.
There are ways. And you can tell that, even without an insight, that she's just fishing for some way to seem useful.
I think I might have to tell her what's for one very important reason, actually. What we encountered in there was the traitor Astartes with a number of Eldar spirit stones.
And at that, she goes wide-eyed and her head snaps to you and says, "How many? Did you bring them?"
Yes, I did.
And, without even missing a beat, not even looking at Brother Harad or Sister Krantz, walks straight up to you and says, "I need those spirit stones."
Oh, you do?
That is literally my purpose in life, to recover lost spirit stones.
Oh, good. Seems like you're now truly bonded to our service.
Her eyes narrow, and she looks like she wants to sneer or otherwise comment, but she does hang her head in a resigned fashion.
Storm, I think you can pass her a rifle. Brother Harad, sorry.
Brother Hod, pass the rifle.
And you see her go through the motions of checking it and says, "Now that's odd. Did you remove the magazines that I had stored away?"
Yes? Can I say that?
I mean, it's up to you whether you did or not, but she's obviously saying that she doesn't see all the ammo she had for it.
Yeah, I'll take them out of my cloak.
She takes them, and kind of like you would with a normal shotgun where you have the shells on the side. It's sort of that same thing, but with her magazine, and she just sort of slaps it to the side of the rifle and says, "Thank you. This will be much more useful now that I actually have ammo for it. But, shall we quit this place?"
Oh, yes.
Do we have a destination?
Well, I kind of want to check out that experimentation office thing again, see if there's any cogitators we could access with some information on them, maybe.
Oh, and I should note that the servitors that you're maybe seeing, those are all gone. So there's nobody there anymore.
I can't see anything over there.
Ah.
Like I see where you have your screen targeted. I can't see anything over there.
Yeah, that's again by design. Yay, dynamic lighting.
But yeah, I for one vote before we leave this place. I can volunteer to do a cogitator sweep. See if I can find any information, maybe pointing out where he went or she, whatever the admech guy was.
Well,
That sounds like a good idea.
I don't want this trip to be in vain. Can I investigate for any ammunition, weapons, supplies?
Scavenge, really.
You may
Scavenge.
scavenge indeed. And actually, I've neglected to ask that when you guys left the Space Marine. He did have a Astartes-sized chainsword if you wanted to take it. He also had an Astartes-sized bolt pistol, which will flavor as being a bolt gun if you wanted the bolt gun.
No, but I'll just take the ammo.
Okay.
But everything else is too tainted.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't have a warp flame pistol. All right.
Yeah, he was really
Guys.
banking on that psychic ability going off, but no. So I would
Good.
say there were 3 reloads on him, so you may distribute those as you
Yeah.
wish.
Well, it's 3 reloads of bolter rounds because remember
Correct.
the ammunition is specific now.
Correct. Yes. So you could
Yeah.
pass them to Krantz.
Yeah,
if
I could
you
use
so
I
wish.
could use the extra ammo. I have not been conserving it in
All right.
in fights.
Yeah.
I don't.
Mhm.
I was just gonna say I don't have a scavenge skill.
I'll pass you 2 of the reloads.
It's probably survival.
I
Oh,
would say
well,
It'd be
survival.
survival or investigate.
Yeah,
I would allow either.
it's probably investigate because you're like in like an actual building that you can like
Yeah,
you're
survival
looking
would be more like trying to find food in the wilderness.
or like or like scavenging things off a battlefield or something like that, right? But
I
this
would
is like
say-
a building, so you're like in. But I don't know. Yeah, it's one or the other.
Yeah, I would say roll whichever is better.
It depends on what What are you intending to find? If you're trying to find like a Medikit kit and stuff like that, scavenging for a Medikit kit would make sense. But if you're trying to like find, I don't know, something like rare, then it's probably not a survival roll. Right? Then it's probably an investigate.
Well, there's only 2 anyway, but I was searching for ordnance and munitions.
Yeah.
Would you
So, like,
like
simple-
to reroll with Wrath?
I don't have any wrath anymore. I burnt mine.
I tell you what, then, to make things interesting,
yeah.
I'm going to give Krantz, Harad, and Shank, I'm going to give you each a point of Wrath for that scene earlier. So you could re-roll it if you so wished.
Oh, I think I will.
All right, total of 3 successes. So let me open up my notes here.
Miss.
Yeah, it's always great when that happens. All right, so give me a brief look at what your wish list would be. Like, are you looking for grenades specifically? Are you looking for armor? Like, what are you looking for in particular?
So, given what we've fought against, I will be happy to find frag grenades or any anti-armor weapons. So frag grenades will be the base. Maybe I know there probably won't be a melter gun.
Yeah,
But
melter
frag
gun's
grenades-
probably a bit much.
Frag grenades, crack grenades, det pack.
I tell you what, I'll give you a choice. You can either find a plasma pistol, or I would give you a heavy flamer.
Ooh. Ooh, that's a hard choice to make. Can I think about that?
You certainly may. And I tell you what,
Pistol or
actually,
heavy flamer, I'd go for the
I
pistol.
want the heavy flamer, but also that's just me being selfish.
but I tell you what, I'm looking at the time, and I don't want us to get too far ahead of Jacta, because, he is out this week. Why don't we stop here, and then you guys can decide, out of game, whether you took the flamer or the pistol. And we'll pick up here next week.
Love it.
Sounds good.
All right,
Works
so
for me.
Twitch, YouTube, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see these lovely people next week. Bye, stream.